this breath of fresh air and vital energy from the Boes and Merdulas group from Otana. However, dear guests and participants, dear speakers, it is my great pleasure to welcome you at the Footprint event here in Milan. My name is Pierpaolo Duce. I'm the responsible of the Institute of Biometeorology of the National Research Council in Sassari, and I'm also the coordinator of the Footprint event. The Food event was organized with the support of the Department of Biology, Agriculture and Food Sciences of the National Research Council, and with the collaboration of the Italian pavilion and several other partners. When we decided to organize this meeting, we had three main purposes. The first was to outline and disseminate the actual status of knowledge on sustainable food production and consumption, with a specific focus on food products from livestock production system. The second purpose was to share scientific results, information and experiences involving research scientists, policymakers, stakeholders, and the public, and the general public whose interest is focused on food, on the environmental cost of the agro-industry chain. And the third purpose was to spread the message that every choice we make, starting with the food we eat at the table, has specific impacts on the natural and on the local and global natural system where we live. The first, before leaving the floor and inviting the speaker to the podium, I like to say a few things. The first is a question for you. Do you know who wrote these lines? If you are narrow-minded, you can find that implementing innovative, low-carbon production processes with limited environmental impacts can be very profitable. We have to trace the path towards different opportunities, which do not imply to stop human creativity and the dream of progress, but rather to channel this energy in a new way. Could be policymakers, could be a scientist, could be, I don't know, a food movement leader. Do you know? Was written very recently, and the author is the Pope, Francis the Pope, in his very recent so-called ecological encyclical, Laudato Si', on the care of our common home, a very nice title. I don't know if this is surprising for you, but in any case, it is a clear sign that big changes occur in our culture and society during the last decades, and also is a clear sign that you all involved or interested in better understanding the environmental cost of food. You all have an excellent representative up there. And I like also to cite a beautiful written and shocking investigation book by Michael Pollan, published approximately 10 years ago, The Omnivore's Dilemma. In chapter 8 of this book, Pollan tells us that for some animals, there is no dilemma at lunchtime. For example, koala eats just eucalyptus leaves. Panda eats only bamboo leaves. To the panda, bamboo leaves mean food. And also for this species, the monarch butterfly, eats only milkweed. So for this species, there is no choice to make, and every else in nature is not food for them. But unlike these species, the omnivores not only can eat different foods, but we need to eat a variety of food to staying healthy. So under 1,000 of here, the human beings built a culture on food that help us to better understand what we can eat and what we have to avoid, what is safe, what can kill us. And in the modern era, and this with simple rules, this help people to solve the dilemma, the omnivore's dilemma. In the modern era, with the omnivores, with our giant supermarket, probably feel much more lost than someone in the forest thousands of years ago. We don't know exactly for sure which food is good, which is not good. And in the postmodern era, we have also a new question arises when we are in front of the dish on the table. How much, which is the environmental cost of this food, which is the impact of this food on the environment, and these points we'd like to think over and discuss today. So we can move to the menu of the day. The chef suggestion will be proposed by Michael Dimmock, president of Roots of Change. Is a foundation that works with Californian communities, businesses, and stakeholders to have healthy, resilient, and safe food for all Californians. Michael will be the moderator, facilitator of this event. Welcome snacks and beverage will be served by Donatella Spano. Donatella is a professor in biometeorology at the University of Sassari, and she is also commissioner for the protection of the environment for the region of Sardinia. The menu will be illustrated by Caroline Oppio. Caroline is a livestock policy officer at FAO, and she is going to talk about the environmental implication of livestock farming. Top secret recipes to better understanding how useful is the life cycle assessment for consumer and retailer will be provided by Gérard Gaillard. Gérard is a research scientist at Agroscope, and is also a member of the EcoInvent committee. So the dish of the day has been prepared by Paolo Mazzoni. Paolo is research director at ENEA, and is also the coordinator of the life cycle assessment research group, and also of eco-design at ENEA. And Paolo will illustrate some cases of environmental footprint of food, indicating also how useful, how we can use this information. So the specialty of the house was made by Stefano Di Marco. Stefano is a research scientist at the Institute of Biometeorology in Bologna, And he is also an excellent jazz drummer. And these are the two main reasons for inviting Stefano here in Milan. His speech is about the comparison between traditional food and organic food with some examples. So I have to say that I like food, I love jazz, but let me say that I'm crazy for dessert, in particular for the sucker tart, and so I'm really curious to know the recipe for a delicious dessert illustrated by Mirella Di Stefano. Mirella Di Stefano, he is Environmental Health and Security Manager at the Granarolo Group, the leading Italian company in the fresh milk market, and also one of the main company for the dairy product sector. And her speech is about the activities conducted during these years by the Granarolo Group in the field of the certification of the environmental quality of the Granarolo Group product. So usually when you ask for the bill arrives, and 100% of the case, and in most of the case is also clear who has to pay the bill. But in our case, when the environmental cost is not included in the market price of the food, the question who pays the bill is significant, is relevant. This point will be developed by Marco Vannini. Marco is professor in economics at the University of Sassari. The last two talks can be seen as after-lunch talks and represent the institutional point of view at both the national and local level. The first speech is by Riccardo Rifici, office manager at the Ministry of Environment, and he discussed how to improve the environmental performance of the agri-food chains. The concluding speech will be done by Gianluca Cocco, office manager at the environmental sustainability sector of the region, of the Sardinia region, and Luca will present the past action and future prospect of environmental sustainability in Sardinia. So that's all. I like to thank again you all for coming here today, and I like also to thank the organizing committee and the secretary for the effort and the care during the month that preceded this event. So that's all. I like to invite Michael to the mic or to the podium to start the conference.